All right, so let's look at question number 11. In this question, what the interviewer trying to understand is, do you know the key differences between Microsoft 365 business licensing versus enterprise plan? So far, I have taken you through a couple of examples on looking into where you can find these licensing information. Again, like I said, it's very difficult to by heart these things, but you should be knowing about like few of the high level things. So again, there are links in the footnote. You can click to take you through the comparison between business and enterprise. But I have prepared a comparison table which talks about key highlights. So I'm going to take you through that. So first and foremost, the usage limit. So that is something you need to understand. That is the one key differentiator you can always highlight when somebody asks about, hey, what is the main difference between business plan and enterprise plan? The business plan supports only up to 300 users. That is quite different to the enterprise plan. Enterprise plan is catered towards unlimited number of users. So you can very well be an organization with 5 users or 10 users or 100 users. You can go for an enterprise plan. Or if you are a business which is less than 300 users and you only want these business premium plans, then you can go for 300 user business plans. But most of the time, organization with less than 300 users stick to the business plans unless they are looking at some other enterprise agreement, things like that. That can get tricky or complicated, but just stick to the knowing that if you are less than 300 business plans or more than 300, you go for enterprise plans. What are the main plans available between these? So we have seen a couple of examples so far. Under business, we have basic, standard, and premium, and there is app only option available. Mostly with the enterprise plan, this looks like E3, E5, F3, etc., which is enterprise 3, enterprise plan 5, frontline, etc. From the security features point of view, you can look at the business plan offer the basic security functionality, wherein the enterprise plan offer you advanced security capabilities, wherein there are a lot of add-ons, there are a lot of proactive security tools you can gain out of these enterprise plan. You don't have to know much details about it, but if you want to know about it, I will create a separate video on security related topics or interview questions for security beginners. There I will cover about deeper aspect into these topics. From the analytics point of view, you get limited AI capabilities, but when you go for enterprise plan, that's where you have an option to get Power BI Pro or Copilot for Microsoft 365 within the enterprise plan, things like that. Obviously, the pricing, which is the obvious fact that business plan is comparatively a little cheaper than the enterprise plan because this is catered towards small businesses and the other one is catered towards the enterprise business. All right, so how do you answer this particular question? So again, highlight the fact that one is the cheaper version for lesser number of users. The other one is for a little more expensive, comes with more advanced functionalities, and it is geared towards enterprises with unlimited number of users. Not unlimited, like lots of users. Definitely more than like 300 users. So that's how you will try to answer that question. All right, so let's move to the next question. All right, so let's look at question number 12. Here, the interviewer is trying to understand, do you know the difference between Microsoft per user license versus per device license? So, because we are in the topic of licenses, this can come sometimes, but majority of the Microsoft licensing is per user licensing, that is subscription based model, especially in Microsoft 365. There are one or two scenarios where you have to deal with the per device licensing. So let me help you understand how and where it is applicable. So the per user licensing model, first and foremost, is assigned to an individual user. So if you go to the Microsoft admin portal, you have an ability to assign a user license to a user in a per user licensed model. The device licenses are assigned to a device rather than a user. The example of a device license could be, let's suppose you are trying to get workstation licenses for a kiosk or call center or schools. Then you will potentially look at these per device licensing, because these devices would be shared by multiple users. If the device is in a shared manner, that's when you explore the per device licensing. If a user uses the device all the time, it is allocated for that user, then you 99% of the time you would go with the per user licensing model. Let me quickly show you how you can assign a license to a user. Again, this is not a deeper dive, just because we are in the topic. I just want to show you that aspect of it. So if you go under Microsoft 365 Admin Center, this is the Admin Center. Again, when we do the deeper dive, I will take you through that. But now for you to understand, if you're a beginner, this is the portal. Any administrator, if you get a job in Microsoft 365, you will be spending a lot of time in this particular portal, doing a lot of activities. One of the activities is user management and group management and things like that. So a lot of things you can do. But the license assignment, either you can come to the user panel and you pick a user, and there is an option for you to assign a license. So if you go here, you can see there is a tab called licenses and apps. So if I want to provide the Copilot Studio license to the user, you can see that there is 16 of 25 licenses available. So out of 25, I have 16 more. So that's a tenant-wide license. And then if I want to assign a license to the user, I assign it. You click on Save Changes. You remember I talked about Microsoft 365 is a SaaS-based service. Because it is a SaaS-based service, when I assign these licenses, these capabilities will automatically turn on for the user. In the traditional world, when you purchase a license, you have to install softwares manually to the user account. In the software as a service world, you don't have to do that. So if I have to provide Teams license to a user, all I have to do is buy the license and then assign a license to a user. They will automatically get Teams in their device what they are using. So that's how the license management work. Another place where you can see the license is if you go under settings. It may not be under settings, it's under billing. Yeah, so it's under billing. You can see there's a licensing tab. Here you can come in and see all the licenses you have available within a single tenant, on a bird's eye view. So here you can see that, hey, I have Copilot license, few Teams licenses, Studio licenses. You can look at the available licenses per these individual product, how much you need to look for extra capacity, things like that. So that's a good place to look at the existing license, things like that. So that's how you answer that question. So you either tell, hey, per user licenses are assigned to a individual user level, per devices are assigned to an individual device level, but the per device license is mostly created for scenarios where there is a shared uh, responsibility, like the device is being shared by multiple users. It could be a kiosk, it could be a school, it could be a call center scenario where these workstations are shared by multiple users. That's where you look into the device based licensing and you assign per device. Question number 13. In this question, let's look at the question first. A company has M365 E3 license, so they are an E3 customer for all employees, but they want to add advanced security and compliance features. What licensing upgrade option available for them? So you, by looking at the question itself, you know that they are an enterprise customer because they are using E3, and they want to understand what are the upgrade option available. That is quite simple, to be honest, these questions. One, you can fairly say that, hey, let's look at upgrading to E3 from E5 and they get all the advanced features, things like that. That is quite good. And if you say that, yes, you are kind of answering that question, and you are definitely touching all the points. But If you remember, in one of the question I said, as a Microsoft specialist, we always look for optimization as well. We can always buy the latest and greatest bundle and it has everything. But if you are cost conscious, you need to look at what are the effective ways I can do it. If you go to the upgrade, you will go for E5, which include the advanced security features like Microsoft Defender, Defender for Identity, Azure Active Directory Premium 2, advanced compliance tools, things like that. That include everything what you can think of from a advanced security point of view. But if you look at add-ons, E3 customers are eligible to get add-ons. This add-on can be not, you don't have to pay for the entire suite of E5 pricing, but you may not. So that's where you will ask question like, hey, you said you want to add advanced security and compliance features. Can you tell me a bit more about what particular thing you are trying to solve? If they are trying to solve like features like, hey, I need extra controls on my compliance, then you look for an add-on called Microsoft Purview Compliance Suite rather than buying e-file license for everybody. Or if they say that, hey, I'm looking at a Defender functionality for my Office 365 plan, then you have plan 2 available as an add-on. Or if they say that, hey, I want additional extra security features for my identities within my organization, then you look at adding on a Azure AD P2 license rather than upgrading everyone to E5. So that's how I would answer, or I would think, rather than telling them, hey, it's easier for you to upgrade to E5. Yes, that is right. I would actually double click and ask additional further question, because that will show your way of thinking, how you think in terms of optimization, things like that, and that shows your knowledge in terms of, hey, there are add-ons available rather than going for a bundle or a suite offering. I hope that insight helped. Hey, before we move to the next section, I just want to talk about one more additional thing where you can get deeper insight. So if you come to this particular link, this time I pointed towards something called Microsoft 365 Licensing Guide, created by Aaron Dinage. So he's one of my colleague, works in Australia. We have this amazing repository of all these licensing information, which we all look into. I don't look into that much because I'm a technical specialist, but all the salespeople always look into this, including our customers, to get an understanding about Microsoft licensing. And he takes a great effort in terms of updating it, because there are a lot of changes happening once in a while. But I'm sure he's spending a lot of time, first of all, developing it and maintaining it. So the reason why I want to call out is, like, here you can come and compare product. So let's assume you want to compare Microsoft 365 Business to Microsoft 365 Business to an E3. That was one of the things what we have done, right? Enterprise E3, and you click on compare. That actually puts that in a side by side window. Let me make it a full screen. It allows you to first and foremost understand what are the components involved in E3, and second, it tells you, hey, business basics, uh, based on June 2025, these are all the components involved. These are either the features of the software set included when you purchase these licenses. It tells that, hey, from a security point of view, it comes with MFA, single sign-on, temp access pass, things like that. So if you are trying to understand what are the security features comes in E3, you first of all look into the E3 component, and you go through this security component. You can see that there are lots of additional things you get with the E3. So that's one way of looking at it. If I go back, if I exit out of this comparison, individually you can look into these plans as well. I'm sure you can do a lot more things, but please have a look at this. This is called M365 Maps, or m365maps.com. I highly encourage you to just pay attention to this and look at if you have any licensing question, along with the Microsoft available content. All right, so next look into question number 14. Before question number 14, I just want to tell that we are moving into a new section. So that's the licensing question I've added, and that's enough, kind of, because if you actually study these four questions, you are learning quite a lot. The next one is Microsoft 365 support and SLA type questions. In this section, we are going to go through what are the different types of support mechanism available within Microsoft, and what is the service level agreement, and how we can get best out of Microsoft service level agreement, or particularly for you to showcase your knowledge in terms of what are the support available and Microsoft service level agreement. Okay, the 14th question is a particular company experiences frequent service outages. That is quite important. So they are telling you upfront that they are having an outage. So you can kind of guess where they are leading with this. So these are some of the keywords. And they're concerned about the Microsoft 365 availability. Again, that's such a key word here, availability. Availability, whenever somebody asks or talk about availability, they are trying to understand the service level agreement, or where can they find information about a particular service is being available. If they are affected, what can they do, and things like that. So those are a couple of keywords. Then they want to understand the service level agreement, of course, and provide by Microsoft, and how do you explain the SLA for Microsoft 365. So this is a great question. One, it helps you understand what is service level agreement, how much Microsoft, what's the Microsoft SLAs for M365, things like that, and a couple of other aspects as well. So let me take you through that. One, the first point you need to understand is Microsoft 365 provide a 99.9% financially backed service level agreement for their uptime. That itself will ensure high availability and minimal service disruption compared to any other on-premises solution out there, because you are guaranteed to get at least up to this is like quite a huge number. If you look at from an uptime guaranteed time, if you look at 99.9%, that means in a year technically it should not go down for more than 8 hours per year. So that is the kind of service availability you are expected to get from Microsoft for any M365 services. That's a guaranteed uptime. Second point you need to understand is it is backed up by a financial compensation as well. If Microsoft fails to meet this SLA, customers can claim for service credits as compensation. I don't know how that works, but you can always go and read these fine prints to understand how that works. But you can understand that this is a financially backed up compensation method. So if you as a customer is affected more than 99% of nine time, which is technically around, I think, 8.7 or 8.6 hours. So if you are affected 10 hours and you want to get a compensation credit for like 1 hour, you can reach out to the Microsoft team, account manager, or there are multiple avenues you can reach out to get the financially backed up credits. The third point you need to land is the scope of SLA, because the scope of SLA covers the core Microsoft 365 services, which include the Exchange Online, the SharePoint Online, OneDrive for Business, Microsoft Teams, etc. So all of the scope of SLA covers all of these core products as well. So let's see if I can take you through a blog post which showcase that. All right. So this is the documentation, service level agreement, online services documentation. You can come in to have a look at all of that data in detail when you get time, if you want to go through it. I'm sure when you search for it, you can find additional or other contents as well. So that's how you answer this question about availability. You need to make sure that you understand 99.9% availability, financially backed up compensation. These 2 points are very important. You should understand about M365, these 2 points. Let's look at question number 15. Let's remove this marker. Right. Question number 15 is which of the following is not included in M365 service level agreement? I just shared few things with you, so we can just do the deduction now. Right. The first one is financial compensation for downtime. I just told you in the previous question, yes. If there is any downtime of less than 99.9, and then you are eligible to get a financial backed up uh, credit from Microsoft. So that is a right answer. So that's not a wrong one. The second one is it guaranteed 100% uptime? So that is wrong. I just now told you that is 99.9%. So different services have different. If you go to Azure, you might see different service level agreements. But for Microsoft 365, that is 99.9. So that's the wrong answer, but that's the correct answer for this particular question. But let's look at the other option. Is it 99% available commitment? Yes, we already talked about that point. And does it cover Microsoft Teams and Exchange Online? Yes, like I said, it is backed up for all these core services like Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, Teams, etc. All of that is part of that coverage. Question number 16. In this question, what the interviewer is trying to understand is what are the main differences of Microsoft 365 support plan? Are you aware of these different support plans and how would they help the business? So in this question, basically you need to understand what are the different types of Microsoft support plans available, and how can this help an organization make the right decision to get the which one is the right one. So I don't know whether if you don't work for Microsoft products or you don't work at a customer who's got Microsoft product, you should be knowing this. If you're a beginner, this is kind of like a tricky question, but I can help you understand how to answer that. First, you need to understand these are the main type of support plans you need to understand. The first one is called Microsoft 365 Standard Support. This you will get with a subscription. When you buy E3 or a business plan or whatever, you will get this standard support. So what does it include in the standard support? So this is available for all Microsoft 365 customers. This include any self-help resources which you can use to look for answers. This include getting information from the community forums, and you can go to help and support and you can raise a support ticket, and that engineer will contact you to fix it, or the support technician will contact you to look into that issue. But when you do that, these response time may vary based on the issue severity. So if your issue is not a high or critical issue, that the response time may vary. So that's the first standard support. The next one is a premier support. So Premier Support will offer you 24/7 technical support with faster response times. And this include proactive guidance, escalation management. So if you feel like, hey, this is quite critical and I would like to get a resolution as fast as possible, then you can go through avenues where you can escalate it to the higher technical capability team to resolve your issue faster. Then additionally, you will get a dedicated account management. So that means you can reach out to an account manager to actually tell that, hey, these are the tickets which you have raised and you want to get a faster resolution, or you want to get a understanding about what's the current status, things like that. You have a person to contact. So this is really good for any sort of large enterprises that require dedicated Microsoft assistance. That's where you would look for the premier support. The next one is the Microsoft Unified Support. This is an enterprise grade support for cloud or hybrid resources or on-premises services. Not only it can get you support into resolving issues, things like that, you will get additional things like you will get trainings from Microsoft. You can get resources like cloud solutions architects come in and deliver trainings on particular topic or a solution, etc. Or you get advisory services where you can reach out to a partner advisory team to get knowledge in terms of particular problem you are having, or understanding about capabilities between two different product, or you want to understand the capability of one particular solution, etc., you can reach out to these advisory services for solutions. Then you get dedicated technical account manager, just like the premier one. And this is ideal for organization with complex IT environment where you have a lot of different teams, IT folks, where you want to have a comprehensive solution or a support mechanism from Microsoft. I would definitely encourage you to look into this unified support. So that's how you would understand this. And how do you answer? It totally boils down to how much you know about it. But kind of try to understand these three key terms like standard support or premier support or unified support, and try to include the essence of all of the things what I mentioned so far into your answer if somebody asks this question. But at the same time, if you want a crisp answer to read it whenever at your own time, you can always refer to the download pack, which include this documentation, which has all these points I talked about. In the reference link, when you click on this reference link, that takes you to this blog post. This kind of highlight shows you different support offerings as well. The business assist, standard support, what does it include, professional direct, and Microsoft Unified. So if you want to double click and learn more about it, and you want to know what is included and what is not included, I didn't want to go through that much detail in this particular question, because one, if you are not interested in this question, I would be like wasting a lot of time of yours. But if you are keen and interested, then I have provided you with the right resources which you can use to actually take your time and go through and read about it, because it is quite comprehensive. All right, so let us go to the next question, question number 17. All right, so in this question again, I can see that there is a critical service outage. So somebody is going to ask us anything about the support or SLA. So let's read the question. A company is using Microsoft 365 Business Premium. That may be key. And they have encountered a critical service outage affecting Microsoft Teams. So they're having some definite downgraded performance or no connectivity to Microsoft Teams. That's quite important to understand. So first and foremost, they need to understand what are the steps should take to get the immediate support. What can they do to get the service back online? All right, so this can be tricky. So let's see how you can answer this first, even before raising it. So even though it says that what are the steps you should take to get immediate support, first and foremost, don't jump the gun and raise a support ticket immediately to resolve it. There is a tool available called Microsoft Service Health. So let me bring that up here. So when you go to Microsoft Service Health, you will be able to first of all look into the Microsoft Service Health and look at the current service and things like that. So this particular document helps you understand where you can find that information, at what level information you can gain out of it, things like that. It's quite really good. So as a Microsoft 365 expert or a engineer in an organization, you should be knowing about this. That's why I'm showing. Now let me show from an admin point of view where you can find it. So you go under the admin portal. If you go home, let me collapse this. So on the left hand side, you can find there is health. So if you click on health, and there are quite a lot of options over there, but what I want you to focus here is the service health. Here under service health, you can see that any issues with any of the services, you can see that all of the services like this is healthy, which include Teams, Viva, and things like that. So if Microsoft is going through any technical issues or anything like that, you would be able to first of all come and see here. You can see that there are a couple of advisories on SharePoint Online. You can click on details to see, hey, SharePoint Online at the moment have an issue with online column filter, which is not working as expected. So if there is a problem happening, if you come under service health, this will immediately tells you before panicking, hey, there is an outage and somebody is working on it. So this is quite a handy place to come as an administrator. So that is what I would do first. Let me go back to the presentation to help you land a couple of additional points. So that's the first thing you would do. You would check your Microsoft 365 Service Health dashboard. Second, even with that, you can raise a support ticket. If you don't see anything in the service health, you can immediately contact the support. How do you contact? Again, let me go back to the admin portal to show you a couple of additional things. So if you scroll down, if you go under support, you can click on health and support. Sorry, not health, help and support. You can search for an issue, or you can look at the support history, or this is where you would be able to raise if you have any existing tickets open. You can see it over here. There is any support ticket you want to raise for Microsoft Surface related queries, you can do that. So this is where you can come and get support incident status, and you would be able to raise a new ticket as well. So that's something you need to be aware of. It is contacting the Microsoft support team. And these contacting could be different based on the conversation we had on the last question. Do you have the premier support, or do you have the unified support, or are you part of the standard support? So based on that, the SLA might vary as well when you reach out to Microsoft. The last point is to escalate if necessary. So if you have a premier support or unified agreement, then you would be able to escalate it. I think in the standard as well, you can escalate it if you say that that's critical and you want to change the priority or severity of the ticket, you would be able to escalate it. So again, use these points when you answer similar sort of question, like show your knowledge in terms of you understand there is something called service health dashboard. That itself is like a big bonus on answering this question, like showing that you have an ability to you clearly understand there is something called service health dashboard available in M365. These things are easy to explain. You tell that, hey, if there is an issue, raise a support ticket. Anybody can tell that, but land this particular point. All right, so in this question, the interviewer is trying to gauge your understanding about, do you know what is the difference between the planned maintenance and unplanned downtime in Microsoft 365? So that is not only related to Microsoft 365, that's a common term, like the planned and unplanned downtime. So you know, if you know, you know it. If not, I will help you understand what it is. So what is planned maintenance? So planned maintenance is when Microsoft notifies the customer in advance about any sort of updates and infrastructure improvement needed. So you remember I showed you the service health, that is one place you can get the advisory report, or the message center is where Microsoft publishes to tell that, hey, there is a planned maintenance happening. This is the time duration when it is going to be affected. So you're always notified. And the one more thing to notice here is these activities are scheduled during the off-peak hours to minimize any sort of business disruption. So that is something you need to understand. So it is not um, during, most of the time it is not during any sort of your peak office hours, based on your organizational working time and things like that, during the night time. And if you are somebody who work at the night time, probably it would be morning time for you, things like that. So that's first is planned maintenance. The second is unplanned downtime. So these are unexpected service outages or disruption due to any type of technical failures or security incident. Um, this is where again customers need to track the real-time issues, like you may be finding a degraded performance in your teams or your exchange online. First, you as an administrator, if somebody calls up and tells you, hey, my teams is not working great, uh, before panicking, you can immediately go to the service health to check out if there is any service outages, things like that. And what else can you do? If you remember the first question, I talked about the service level agreement, SLA, and if the downtime is more than the SLA time what Microsoft guarantees, you can look at avenues to look into getting any sort of service credit as well. So I don't know how that works, but there is a mechanism. If the service is goes below 99.9% in an annual year, and annually, then you can get service credits as well. So that is something you need to be aware of. All right, so that's the points which you need to use to answer this planned and unplanned maintenance question. Fairly easy, straightforward question. All right, so let's look at the next section. The next section is all about billing, different types of billing options available for Microsoft 365, trials, and different purchasing options. We will go through 5 questions here. So, first, question number 19. Here, the interviewer is trying to understand, do you have knowledge on what are the trial options available? Gaining your understanding about before purchasing any software, can they actually go and trial this before making a decision? So a particular business want to try Microsoft 365 before purchasing. They want to know what are the trial options available and what should they know before signing up. So to answer this question, you need to first of all understand, is there any trial option available within Microsoft 365? That's the first thing you need to understand. If yes, what are the trial options available? So let me help you understand how to answer this. I will put across these 2 points. First, yes, to answer the question, yes, there are trials available. And there are two types, business trials and enterprise trials. So first, let's address what is business trial. So if you purchase Microsoft 365 Business Standard or Business Premium, Microsoft first of all offer a 30-day trial. I mean, like 30-day free trial. So if you are in planning to purchase Standard or Business Premium, you can try it first before buying it. And you need to know that that include the Office applications as well, which is the usage of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, OneDrive, Exchange, things like that. All of this can be tried as an installed version on your device, like a Mac or a Windows, or like an online versions like Word Online, Exchange Online, things like that. But that requires the business to sign up with the business email. So to be eligible, you cannot sign up with your outlook.com or a Gmail mailbox. Sorry, gmail.com. You need to sign up with your business email to get that. So that is one thing you need to be aware of. The second is the enterprise trial. So if you are a customer who is using E3 or E5 of Microsoft 365, again, Microsoft provided 30-day access to enterprise features as well. That will include the advanced features for the security, compliance, and analytics features, things like that. So how can you do that? So if you want to try additional thing, you can go to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center and you can look for trial. The admin center is something which I showed you before. So let me see if I can quickly go to my admin center. So this is the admin center. You can go under billing and you can go for look at your product and you can try other products here as well. Or if you wanted to find the trial or anything in the admin center, you come here and type trial. So you can see that, hey, your product under products, you can come and see the new product. You can say add more product. That gives you an option to try out additional product which you don't have as well. You can see that, hey, there is a new trial for Power BI. So if you click on it, it says that, hey, there's is a 30-day trial. When you click on checkout, post the trial, if you keep it active, you're going to pay around this much. So that's a good indication of, you can set an alert to notify you before 30-day to deactivate it if you don't want to automatically or accidentally pay for it. But yes, of course, you can come in here and you can look for recommended products, or all product will give you a list of all Microsoft 365 based product, including optional add-ons and things like that. So you can come in here, filter these based on what you're looking at, and then you can understand how much is the cost, or if you want, you can compare before trying it and things like that. So that's how you answer this. There are two options. Yes, first of all, yes, trial is available. Second, there are business trial and enterprise trial. Business require you to sign up with your business account. Enterprise also give you 30 or sometimes more days on your trial depending upon what you are trialing. That is totally relevant on that particular product, and then you can go to your admin center to try it. If you click on this learn more, button, I have included this link where you can actually go and see how you can trial a particular product even before you're buying it. You can click on start a free trial, ask you to sign in with your not Outlook or not Gmail or things like that. Sign in with your organizational email address. Question number 20. Again, this is an elimination question. So, which of the following statement about Microsoft 365 purchasing option is false? We are looking into the purchasing options. So, let's read about it. First one is Microsoft 365 subscription can be purchased directly from Microsoft or through cloud solution provider. That is correct. I have shown you an example where just now, along with trialing it, there is an option to buy that service as well. So you can buy directly from Microsoft. You don't have to go through any channel. But if you do want to go through a channel, there is an option called Cloud Solutions Provider. I haven't talked about it in the previous question. That is another way you can buy Microsoft services, where these resellers or the cloud solution providers can attach or wrap around additional services like add-on services or managed services along with Microsoft services. To give you an example, you are like a small business and you want 500 or sorry 200 Microsoft 365 licenses. They not only give you licenses, they say that hey, I can come in and do the optimization for you, I can come in and do the implementation for you, or ongoing basis I can do the security checks or make sure that I put in right policies in place for everything is right in your organization from a security standpoint, things like that. That's the wraparound service they can put on top of it. So that's cloud solution provider. So now you know that. So if you want to know more about it, just go and read about it. Yeah. So that statement is not false. Let's look at the second statement. Microsoft allows monthly and annual billing options for most business plans. 100% right. So we have seen examples where you can either pay monthly or you can convert that into an annual plan, even for business plans or for enterprise plan. There are options for that. The third statement is Microsoft 365 business plans support unlimited users. That is wrong because we have seen multiple examples so far. The business plan only support up to 300 users and the enterprise plan support unlimited users. So that is the right answer for this question, but it is a wrong statement. The fourth statement is enterprise customers can purchase Microsoft 365 through volume licensing agreement. Correct. So that's another way enterprise customers can buy these licenses. All right. So I hope you understood the detection method, what I used, and while giving you more clarity on all of these points. If you want further reading, just go and click on this link or go through the documentation to read more about it.